Hey, what's up, guys? This is Izix. I'm finally back at work. I don't know if y'all saw last week's video. Um, Recently just had surgery, so I still can't fully move. Like, this arm has limited mobility compared to this one, so that's why I waved with this one today. This week's topic is talking about any regrets we may have about our transition. And honestly, the only regret I can really think of is that I regret not coming to terms with it sooner in my life. I came out later, and right now I'm pushing almost 3.5 years into my transition, and I just turned 32, so I came to terms with it a lot later than a lot of people. And it isn't like I didn't know before. I mean, I've always had issues with the whole trying to present female growing up, and I think the only reason why was because I grew up in a Southern Baptist family, so my mom's really closed-minded type of Christian, where she believes very much in gender roles. And I know it has a lot to do with the fact that she really wanted a daughter, like to the point that she prayed for it and all of that. So in a way, I felt bad at times that I took that away from her, but I never felt like female. I've always felt like one of the guys. I grew up with majority male cousins. I have 2 girl cousins, and all my other cousins are guys. I grew up with 2 best friends that I was raised with growing up. Basically, my parents' friends and their kids. So whenever they hung out with their friends, their kids were my friends. We grew up together. We're all like a year apart, so I had 2 friends. One was a year older than me, and then one was a year older than him. So that's who I was raised with until I was like, well, yeah, we were friends all throughout graduation, basically, and we still kept in contact. One of them, unfortunately, has passed away, and the other, we lost contact after about 25. I mean, we still have ways to reach each other. It's just we're not always together like we used to be. But that was what I grew up with. That's all I've ever known. I remember wanting to not wear a shirt and my mom throwing a fit. And she would throw a fit because puberty was around the corner and body parts were starting to show. So I could never grasp the whole bows in the hair and the ruffle socks and all that. I just kind of conformed for her, but I wish I would have thrown more of a fit about it when I was younger, when I didn't want to wear that stuff. And she used to get mad at me all the time because I used to pull the bows out as soon as she wasn't around. I didn't want to wear my hair down. I didn't like having hair. I had hair down to my butt. Hated it. Hated the ruffle socks. Hated the dresses. She used to put me in these fluffy shoulder dresses from the early 90s, you know. Just hated all of that stuff. And I have kind of a complexity to an extent with toys. So I don't play with them, but I have them. The only thing I still play with is like video game systems, but I grew up with those. I still buy action figures and I just kind of keep them. But I think with that, I think what it is the fact that I never got to get the toys that I wanted growing up. I always got stuck with dolls. So I never got to get the cool toys. I mean, I got to play with the ones my buddies had, but I didn't have them for myself. Like, I never got the white Ranger, Power Ranger toys, or like the Megazord, you know, Green Ranger stuff, Red Ranger stuff. I was obsessed with Power Rangers. First, before Power Rangers, it was actually Ninja Turtles, and then it was Power Rangers. So I kind of wonder if I would have just neglected all the girl stuff and just said no to it and been more stuck in my way if my family would have had no option but to give in to it. Like, they they altered my life so much because I allowed them that power. So I kind of wish that I would have stuck my ground with it and transitioned early on. I could have offset puberty and some of the changes that happened. Um, Even if I hadn't done that, even if I had waited till I was 18 or early 20s, like, I just wished I would have transitioned earlier. I would have come to terms with it earlier. Um, I've had the thought about it before, but I didn't really know that trans men were a thing. I didn't know that this was an option. And that sounds naive, but I think a lot of people don't realize that it is an option until you become educated on the situation. Um, I came back across it again, like the thought entered my mind when I was like 25, 26, around there. Uh, Chaz Bono did his documentary when they were following him around with his top surgery and all that. Me and my ex at the time watched it, and she just kind of gave me a look, but she didn't say anything. So I talked to her after that about it, and she told me that she knew that I was trans before I knew I was trans. So I just feel like it's time lost. But I'm still not that old to where I can't enjoy some of the stuff that people regret that don't transition in their younger years. I still have some of that youth left. Granted, I'm not young or like a teenager or early 20s. I'm 32. I am older, but I still have time to get some of that stuff out of my system. Now, that is like my main regret. Other than that, as far as things that I may regret, it's probably the fact that I waited so long to come out to my family. When I started hormones, I just kind of pulled away from everybody and then didn't have anything to do with them because I know that they're all very Christian and very religious. Not necessarily Christian, because I do have Pentecostal family also, but they're all very religious and very judgmental, and I expected them to be like that with me. And I didn't face them until my grandfather passed away. And I honestly didn't talk to him much like the last couple years because my voice had changed so much. He didn't know who he was talking to anymore. And it bothers me because I grew up with him. I was like the only grandchild that was always there. I grew up with my grandparents. They were there for me like parents would be. And I basically just didn't talk to him. Not because I didn't go see him. He didn't live here anymore. My aunt took him to Mississippi his last like 2 years of life. And we were taking care of him before that. But all the changes, my mom stuck me on the phone with him, all the changes and the voice changing. When he got on the phone, he was asking who it was. I just handed the phone back to my mom. I didn't know how to explain it. I didn't really want to deal with it while he was dealing with illness. And I regret not explaining it to him, not talking to him more in his final days. If I had just come out to them when I was doing everything, maybe I could have seen him before he passed. So that's something I kind of regret. But surprisingly, my family, as close-minded as they are, they're accepting of me. They're not judging me, but I guess that's because I'm related. But I do know that they do judge a lot of other people of like the LGBT community and all that. So it kind of doesn't sit well with me, because they'll make Facebook posts or something about like gay marriage, or making posts about it, and then they're accepting of me. So are you really accepting of me, or are you just dealing with it because we're related? So I still keep my distance on that. But those are my only regrets, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up, and I'll see y'all next week.